In my previous life, I picked up a golden opportunity that a rich heiress had tossed aside, a guaranteed spot at a top university. After graduation, I even married into a rich family, transforming from a rural village girl into the wife of the richest man in the country. At 28, I had made every single move at the crossroads of fate exactly right. But one morning, I woke up to find myself back at 18. And then, lines of floating comments began to appear before my eyes. The female lead is so lucky, she stole the life that originally belonged to the supporting character. In her last life, that heiress acted like she was cursed. She gave up the direct admission and ran off to a third-tier university with a broke guy. She even handed over the richest male lead, who had doted on her since childhood, to someone else. What a disaster. She was made stupid by the plot just to make room for the lead. Luckily, she's been reborn. This time it's definitely the supporting character's time to shine. I can't wait to see what Diana does without the heiress's stolen perks. Let's see how she plays the heroine now. I'm Diana, but who says I can't be the heroine? People who only realize what they lost after it's gone were already losers from the start. Chapter 01. I blinked in a daze and met the ecstatic gaze of my deskmate, Alicia. She bolted out the back door of the classroom and ran to the next class to call out for Daniel, the man who would become my husband in my last life. She threw herself onto him and began to sob. Danny, I won't be stupid this time, I swear. Daniel stood frozen for a second before breaking into a surprised smile, clumsily trying to comfort her. The barrage of floating comments appeared again. That's more like it. A rich heiress deserves the heir of a powerful family. Diana's just a backwoods bumpkin. How did she get the leading lady arc? Diana's just a thief, stealing what belonged to someone else. No way are we accepting her as the female lead. Thank goodness the heiress finally woke up. This time, Diana better crawl back to the countryside where she came from. I stared blankly at the math workbook on my desk, the complex formulas confirming the reality. I really had returned to senior year of high school. There was just 1 month left until the college entrance exams. Someone sat down beside me, Alicia. Her eyes were red, but shone with fierce determination. She smirked at me with utter confidence, as if victory were already hers. Diana, I'm taking back everything that's rightfully mine. Just watch. I smiled without replying. I was curious, too. What kind of life would I carve out this time around? Chapter 02. The class bell rang, and our homeroom teacher walked in, looking overjoyed. Alicia's face lit up with manic anticipation. The on-screen comments began to flood in again. Here it comes, the heiress's direct admission offer is finally here. This is the first major turning point where Diana rewrote her fate. If she hadn't stolen the heiress's spot, how else would she have made it to Peking University? People who take shortcuts and steal others' hard-earned achievements are nothing but sewer rats. And she still ended up stealing the heiress's fiancé and becoming a rich man's wife? Shameless. The next second, the teacher spoke. Alicia Mu, congratulations on securing the direct admission to Peking University. Applause erupted. She cast a glance at me that seemed almost sympathetic. Even though you also received an award in the same competition, there's only one spot for direct admission. In my past life, Alicia had scored half a point more than me. Based on rankings, I was cut. But to everyone's surprise, she turned it down. Teacher, direct admission is the weakest path. Give the opportunity to someone who needs it more. That one line made everyone admire her. The teacher even teased her. Then I'll be waiting for you to become the top scorer in the entire province and bring glory to our school. But the truth was, she had already been brainwashed by her school bully boyfriend. She had sworn to enter the same college with him and experience a passionate, rebellious love story. She was sick of sneaking around like criminals just to hold hands. Alicia was showered in praise. But me, the one who ended up receiving the spot, was ridiculed mercilessly. Charity case. Hand me down. Shameless. I didn't care. With my grades hovering near the cutoff line for top-tier universities, I treasured the opportunity. Alicia had the confidence to gamble with her future. I didn't. I came from the countryside. A stable future meant more than a few ugly comments. But this time, Alicia's voice rang out, firm and resolute. I accept the direct admission offer to Peking University. Chapter 03. Amidst the gasps of envy and sighs, Alicia turned to me. Diana, you must be really disappointed. Huh? Of course she is. Diana's probably grinding her teeth into dust right now. Nothing feels better than seeing the heiress dump that thug school bully and end up going to the same university as the male lead. Love it. Alicia took a deep breath, her body trembling slightly, as if finally feeling the weight of her rebirth. I'm really sorry, but this spot was mine to begin with. I smiled calmly. Congratulations. 10 years. From 18 to 28 in my last life. I studied all the way through undergrad, master's, and PhD, while fighting tooth and nail to climb the ranks of the Coup Corporation. Meanwhile, Alicia spent those years playing cat and mouse with her school bully boyfriend, fighting, getting abortions, running away from home. What I had over her wasn't just a decade of knowledge, but solid judgment, unshakable confidence, and the courage to face anything head-on. Just one exam. This time around, I had no doubts I would pass. No surprises, no failures. But Alicia clearly thought I was just bluffing. She looked at me with disdain. I can't wait to see your face when the exam results come out in 2 months. She looked absolutely sure she'd get the last laugh. Chapter 04. But her joy didn't even last a full class period because Lucas showed up and wiped the color right off her face. Lucas was a known troublemaker and Alicia's current boyfriend. As the only daughter of the elite Mu family, it was obvious why Lucas was chasing her. He stormed into the classroom, face full of rage, and kicked my desk hard. Didn't we agree we'd go to the same college? What the hell is this? Huh? Alicia glared at him fiercely. Why the hell should I listen to you? With your grades, you'd be lucky to get into a bottom-tier diploma mill. You've got no right to talk to me like that. The commotion drew a crowd to the classroom door. Daniel Coup from the neighboring class heard Alicia's voice and rushed in, shielding her with his body. His voice was low and cold. If you want to cause trouble, get out. This isn't the place for your tantrums. Humiliated again and again, Lucas snapped and pointed at Alicia, spewing filth. You really think she's some untouchable princess? Newsflash, this bitch couldn't wait to give it up. She told me herself she'd hand over her virginity right after graduation. He laughed like a maniac. First time I ever saw Eris begging me to screw her. Tell me she's not pathetic. Alicia trembled in rage, then suddenly pointed at me. It was you, wasn't it? You didn't get my spot. So you brought him here to threaten me? To ruin my reputation? Diana, you're disgusting. You and him, you're both trying to steal everything that's mine. The comment barrage exploded, siding with Alicia and attacking me relentlessly. Now it makes sense how Lucas knew so fast. Diana must have been colluding with him all along. In the last life, the heiress got tricked by Lucas. She was pure and kind, raised like a jewel by her family and Daniel. She'd never dealt with someone so manipulative and cunning. Pair that with a scheming Diana, and of course she fell into their trap. Last time, Alicia suffered horribly because of those two. Now that she's woken up, it's their turn to suffer. I let out a laugh, equal parts anger and disbelief. If you're that paranoid, go see a doctor. I haven't even moved from my damn seat this whole class. Are you blind? You brought this mess on yourself and want to pin it on me? The surrounding students looked at each other, then slowly nodded in agreement. Alicia's face turned crimson with embarrassment, and she fell silent. Lucas was finally dragged out, but left behind a total mess. My textbooks were scattered all over the floor. I silently bent down to pick them up, only to find myself face to face with Daniel, who was doing the same. Chapter 05. Our eyes met, and for a moment, it felt like yesterday, just a heartbeat ago in my memories. He was still whispering my name in bed, gently holding me after we made love. We'd been married for 3 years and had just started planning for a child. But then I woke up, and I was 18 again. The boy standing before me no longer resembled the man I once knew so intimately. 18-year-old Daniel didn't love Diana. Yet at this very moment, he was staring at me with something like confusion. Have we met before? I froze. In all 3 years of high school, I'd buried myself in my studies and never had any interaction with him. Even this semester, though I sat next to Alicia, she was too busy dating Lucas to give Daniel the time of day. She didn't like him, and she definitely didn't let him show up in our classroom. So why was he suddenly asking me this? I was just about to speak when Alicia cut me off, panic written all over her face. She shoved me aside and stepped in front of Daniel. Danny, you're overthinking it. She's just some countryside girl. How could she possibly have any connection to us? Daniel hesitated for a moment, then finally nodded. Sorry. Maybe I mistook you for someone else. He handed me a notebook filled with mistakes. On it was one of the hardest problems from the national competition. I had covered the page with my working formulas. Daniel looked surprised. You actually solved this? Can I see your approach? Daniel was ranked first in the entire school, but he hadn't entered the competition, for Alicia's sake. Alicia immediately tensed up. She snatched the notebook out of his hands. Danny, why are you asking her? Her scores aren't even as high as mine. She couldn't have come up with anything better. You couldn't solve it. How could she? She was on the verge of tears, having been reborn. She was terrified of repeating the same mistakes as before, of losing the man who loved her most to someone else again. Danny, aren't you even worried if I'm okay after what happened? Do you not want me anymore? The comment barrage shifted into a lighthearted tone. Don't worry, Eris, Daniel would never leave you, even in the last life. After marrying Diana, he still dropped everything to rush to Alicia's side when he heard she was in trouble. She's clearly the one closest to his heart. Honestly, I think Daniel truly loved Diana 7 years later. After working together from college through the Coup Corporation, feelings were bound to develop. Diana's actually pretty remarkable. Alicia just picked the wrong man. Please, someone's clearly been brainwashed by the plot. Let's be real. The girl's from a rural background. How could she possibly compare to the heiress? Who even knows if Diana's motives for getting close to Daniel were genuine? That whole not good enough for Daniel narrative, it wasn't the first time I'd heard it. Back in college, we started collaborating on numerous research projects. Even our professors said we were a perfect match, both talented. Like a golden couple. But not once did anyone say we were meant to be together. Let alone to marry. Because even Daniel's casually worn cufflinks cost more than I could afford in a year. And me? I was still wearing the same pair of canvas shoes, so worn and faded from being scrubbed clean over and over. Class divide, it's a chasm that ordinary people might never be able to cross in a lifetime, no matter how hard they try. Chapter 06. Over the next month, Alicia visited Daniel's class every single day, but whenever I was around, she would make sure to drag him away, refusing to let us even speak. Daniel's strange behavior that day had clearly shaken her. Time passed quickly, and the college entrance exams arrived right on schedule. Everyone was rushing, heads buried in review sheets, cramming desperately. Only I walked calmly toward the exam hall, holding my exam materials at an unhurried pace. The comments on screen were mocking me non-stop. Has she just given up? Everyone else is glued to their books, and she's strolling around like it's just another school day. She must know there's no point in struggling anymore. The direct admission's gone, looks like she didn't even study this past month. Probably won't even get into an average college. Either way, she's no match for the heiress. I ignored them. Suddenly, chaos broke out in the comments. Lines of text flashed in a panic. Alicia got taken away by Lucas? What the hell? Isn't she exempt from the exam? Why is she even at school? Lucas is disgusting. He's blackmailing her with nudes? This is so messed up. The teachers and security are all guarding the main buildings. No one's watching that abandoned equipment room. Has Lucas lost his mind? Alicia's been acting weird lately. He must have noticed. What's he planning? Is he seriously thinking of raping her just to ruin everything? My heart sank. I stopped in my tracks. And then I turned around and sprinted toward the equipment room. Once the exam starts, no one is allowed into the hall after the first 15 minutes. But right now, someone's desperate cry for help was louder than any consequence. In the face of physical strength, if Lucas really tried to force Alicia, she wouldn't be able to escape. I ran faster. What is Diana doing? The exam is about to start. That's the direction of the equipment room. Does she know Alicia's been taken by Lucas? Don't tell me she's part of it too. Honestly, wouldn't be surprised. Losing the direct admission must have filled her with resentment. Maybe she's in on it with Lucas. I ignored the comments and kept running, just in time to run into a patrolling security guard. When we arrived, Lucas was yanking Alicia by the hair, beating her repeatedly, nearly tearing her clothes off. Alicia was screaming at the top of her lungs. The security guard roared, "Hey, what the hell are you doing?" Chapter 07. As soon as I brought the security guard, I finally let out a breath of relief. The abandoned equipment room was more than 10 minutes away from the exam hall, but I managed to reach my test paper just in time, within the 15-minute cutoff. I didn't have the time or energy to care about the shocked comments flashing by. I focused all my attention on the questions. 3 straight days of exams, and I grew more confident with each one. But the moment I stepped out of the final exam, a few police officers stood waiting for me. "Diana, please come with us." My eyes darkened slightly. Immediately, the students nearby swarmed over, whispering and speculating about my so-called crimes. "Did you hear? On the first day of the exam, Alicia got assaulted by Lucas. Word is Diana was in on it." What does Diana have to do with that? Could it be about that direct admission to Peking University? Diana's so malicious. If Alicia got hurt, then the spot would fall back to her, right? Typical of someone from the countryside. I had only transferred to this school in my senior year, brought in with a 100,000 yuan scholarship to help boost their elite university admissions rate. That 100,000? My father took it all to pay off his gambling debts. Every month or so, he'd ride the train into the city to take more than half of my financial aid. Everyone in the school knew I'm a country girl, with a vulgar, greedy father. No one wanted to be close to me. The floating comments seemed thrilled to see me fall. Bet she's heading to prison straight after graduation. She looked pretty serious during the exam. Could have gotten into a good college too. What a waste. Brought it on herself. Don't jump to conclusions. Diana doesn't seem like that kind of person. What if this is all just a misunderstanding? But the few scattered voices speaking for me were quickly drowned out by waves of viciousness. I lowered my eyes, quietly thinking about how I could prove my innocence. Being able to see the floating comments was already something that defied logic. But what I didn't expect was that the police hadn't come to accuse me at all. Chapter 08. The day the results came out arrived quickly. The school had invited the top 30 seniors back on campus to check their scores. A group of reporters was already gathered outside the classroom, live streaming the whole thing. Top universities across the country were all watching, waiting to see which school would produce the provincial top scorer. As the usual top-ranked student, Daniel Koo naturally drew all the attention. Daniel Koo ranked first again in the last mock exam. It'd only be fair if he took the top spot in the province too, right? The Koo academic genius and Alicia are the perfect match. Not only are they talented and good-looking, but they're also our school's twin stars headed for Peking University. I stood quietly in the corner of the classroom. Then, the principal suddenly said, "By the way, Diana is also one of our top 5 students. Have you estimated your score?" I nodded. "It should be over 700. The principal gave me a mocking glance, clearly not convinced. My best record in senior year was 685. The comments lit up, practically buzzing with excitement. "Ha ha ha, what kind of cosmic joke is she making? Does she think she's funny or something? Please." Alicia wouldn't even dare say she scored above 700. What gives Diana the right to? The principal started checking the scores from the top 30 down. The whole classroom tensed up immediately. The sound of clicking shutters from reporters' cameras filled the air. Then came the top 5. Before the principal could even type in my ID number, a call from the admissions office threw him completely off guard. At this hour, a call could only mean one thing: a university was trying to snatch a top student. The principal's whole face lit up red with excitement. "If our school produces the provincial top scorer, I'll treat everyone here to a luxury dinner and hand out scholarships. If you're here, you get one. If you see it, you claim it." The classroom erupted. The call was put on speaker. "Principal Zhao, first of all, congratulations on producing the provincial science top scorer. Your school's going to be overwhelmed with applicants after this. Secondly, is Diana there? Please have her pick up the phone immediately if we lose her to another university. The director's going to kill me." Principal Zhao froze, caught between disbelief and joy. "What did you say? Diana? How many points did she get?" "She's the top scorer in the entire province's science track, 728 points. The highest score in recent history. That's 15 full points higher than Koo." "Who came in second?" "Principal Zhao. You've done an incredible job." The call ended. The room fell silent. Everyone stared at each other in shock. Principal Zhao jumped around like an overjoyed child. His eyes were burning with excitement as he stared at me, almost boring a hole through me. Suddenly, he burst into laughter and grabbed both my and Daniel's hands, shouting "Excellent!" 3 times in a row. The comments went completely insane. "What the hell? This has to be fake. How could Diana possibly score that high? Stop lying. I saw her taking the exam with my own eyes. Is it really so hard to admit the original heroine is actually talented? So what if she got the top score? She still nearly got Alicia hurt. She's going to prison anyway. Let her rot. Did you forget the details or what? Who said it was Diana's fault? Just then, a commotion broke out outside the classroom. 2 police officers stepped inside. Chapter 09. The officers stepped forward, holding a ceremonial banner, and placed it directly into my hands under everyone's stunned gaze. We're delivering this on behalf of Alicia, to thank Diana for her act of bravery. As soon as the words landed, all the whispers and murmurs around the room turned into awkward silence. I took the banner with both hands and said, "Thank you." The reporters erupted with excitement. None of them had expected to witness the top scorer's announcement and see police officers present an award. This was front-page material for sure. Just then, my phone lit up with messages from Alicia. "You saved me this time. Everything from the past is wiped clean. But I won't hand over what's mine again. From today on, I don't want to see you in front of me anymore." The floating comments went wild with approval. That's what you'd expect from someone raised as a true elite, our heiress. Even after Diana stole everything in the last life, Alicia didn't hold a grudge and even cleared her name. Honestly, Diana's life is already peak level for most people. Being the top scorer in the province is enough bragging rights for a lifetime. But the heiress even had police deliver her a thank you banner. You people jealous much? You're hilarious. Diana saved Alicia. Isn't that what matters? The situation was dangerous as hell. Without her, Alicia might not have made it out alive. And you're calling it not holding a grudge? Please. I've had enough of this. Reading comments from brain-dead readers is exhausting. What? You can't stand to see someone from a poor background succeed? The direct admission spot was one Alicia gave up herself. So what if Diana had ulterior motives in getting close to the male lead? He was still attracted to her talent. What? He's supposed to stay loyal to Alicia forever just because she's rich? I curled my lips into a faint smile. Finally, after all this time, a few people in the comments had started to understand. Daniel was the most brilliant and wealthiest man I'd ever had the chance to meet. I did fall for him, but mostly because his excellence was so rare. I knew my background and connections couldn't support the size of my ambition. So yes, getting close to Daniel hadn't been purely innocent. If a man could help me get what I wanted, why wouldn't I use that? To deserve his world. I worked like mad once I entered the Coup Corporation, securing major projects just to silence the whispers behind my back. I was so caught up in my thoughts, I didn't even notice the increasingly strange look in Daniel's eyes beside me. Chapter 10. Right after graduating from high school, I used my past life knowledge to invest in the stock market and earned my first bucket of gold. Then I launched a startup in what would become one of the most promising industries over the next 5 years, bringing in a group of young, capable co-founders. They were all people I'd encountered in my previous life, full of potential but lacking capital. Just as university started, military training was cancelled, giving me extra time to prepare a proposal and bidding documents for an upcoming project by the Coup Corporation. It was this very project that would later push the Coup Group to new heights and solidify its status as the wealthiest enterprise in City A. While rushing to finalize the proposal one day on campus, I heard news that Daniel and Alicia were now officially together. Alicia's over-the-top displays had everyone speechless. Her social media was updated daily, at least once, showing off their relationship. Always side by side. Always in sync. The first time I saw them on campus, they were arguing. Daniel rubbed his temples, clearly exhausted. "Alicia, the company's working on a major project right now. Can I spend more time with you once it's done?" Alicia had changed after her rebirth, and Daniel welcomed that. After all, she was the girl he had promised to protect for a lifetime since they were children. But she'd become increasingly irrational. Even if he felt a hint of irritation, Daniel's manners and sense of responsibility wouldn't let him outright reject her. Then, Alicia's face darkened immediately. "What do you mean by that? Are you just like Lucas, once you get what you want, you stop caring? You said you'd take care of me forever. Are you going to break that promise now? How could you do this to my parents?" The comment section was beginning to sour. Ugh, not gonna lie. This whole act is getting old. You got reborn and you're still playing the same cards? Daniel's actually being pretty patient. Alicia checks his schedule 24/7 and doesn't even let him breathe. If my girlfriend acted like that, I'd lose my mind. Meanwhile, Diana's the complete opposite, never checks his phone, gives him full respect and space. And then Daniel starts doubting if she even loves him. Alicia spotted me then, and her expression twisted further, with teary eyes. She snapped at me. "Didn't I tell you not to show up in front of us again?" I raised an eyebrow. "If your brain's malfunctioning, go get it checked. This hallway belongs to your family or something?" She clenched her jaw but suddenly noticed Daniel, who had been focused on her a moment ago, now staring absent-mindedly at me. Alicia let out a shrill scream. "Daniel, are you falling for her again? Why? Even with a second chance, do you still look at her?" I tooted silently in my head. I would never understand. Alicia had everything: her parents' love, financial stability, intelligence that couldn't be underestimated. Yet she was always confused about what truly mattered. To 18-year-old Daniel, even if Alicia did nothing but stand there, he would still gravitate toward her. But even if Daniel wasn't in the picture, so what? What she already had was something most people would never even dream of. Daniel, watching Alicia storm off, looked at me with a touch of guilt. "Sorry, my girlfriend's not in a good place lately. I apologize on her behalf." Girlfriend. I froze a little. In my last life, I had been Daniel's first love, but the one who taught him how to love had always been Alicia. Even after we were married, I knew, though Daniel loved me, he could never completely let go of her. He loved me openly, but he cared for Alicia with quiet caution, and maybe that was for the best. In this life, we've chosen different paths. I don't need him anymore. Chapter 11. 2 months later, the Coup Corporation officially opened bidding for their major project. With 6 years of experience at Coup Group in my past life and months of preparation for this proposal, I was confident. If nothing went wrong, our plan was undeniably the strongest. But the issue was, our company was newly established. A lot of processes had to be outsourced, driving up overall costs. Whether Coup Group would be willing to choose us based solely on the strength of our proposal, that was my biggest concern. I tightened my grip on the report in my hands. The next second, the Moo Group presented their pitch, and my heart sank. It was identical to ours. 4 months of painstaking work, replicated word for word. The manager beside me slammed the table, unable to hold back his fury. He scoffed. "And how exactly can your company prove this proposal is your original work?" I stared at their PowerPoint, right down to the punctuation. It was the same. Alicia? But in the last life, she'd gone to a bottom-tier college, barely cared about her studies, and never even joined the Moo Group after graduation. She'd certainly never been involved with Coup Group. Besides, I'd refined and rewritten this proposal over 50 times. No outsider could have replicated that unless there was a leak from within. A thin sheen of sweat formed on my palms. Losing this project would be bad, but gaining a reputation for plagiarism in the industry would be far worse. It could destroy the company before it even got off the ground. Due to the suspected plagiarism, the bid was suspended. As I exited the Coup Group building, a luxury car pulled up, and the window rolled down. It was Alicia. I stared at her, expression calm. "Was it you?" She curled her lips into a smug smile. "Blame your secretary, he couldn't resist temptation." Diana. Of all places, why did you have to go near Coup Group? There was a fleeting look of guilt in her eyes, but it vanished quickly. "Don't blame me, I just don't want to walk the same path as before. You already took everything from me once. This was always meant to be mine." The barrage of comments was stunned at first, then surprisingly sympathetic. "She's just scared. She didn't even really do anything wrong." Honestly, I kind of feel bad for her. She was raised with everything, loved, spoiled, and now she's terrified of losing it all. It's Diana's fault. If Diana didn't exist, Alicia would have lived happily ever after. But other voices pushed back. "Have you all lost your minds? She didn't do anything wrong. She stole someone else's work and that's okay now? Diana worked her ass off to become better. How is that a crime? You keep calling Diana a thief. But honestly, Alicia's the real one here. I'm with Diana this time. Isn't Daniel already with Alicia? Why go this far?" I watched Diana stay up past 1 or 2 a.m. almost every night for 4 months straight. Just when I thought things had hit a dead end, Daniel appeared in front of me, alone. Chapter 12. The moment I looked into his eyes, I knew. Daniel had been reborn too. His gaze held the depth of someone a decade older, steady, calm, and tender. His voice was hoarse. Diana, why didn't you come to me? You came back too, didn't you? That proposal, I know it's yours. Only you could have written it. His expression was visibly shaken. Maybe the memory of our last moment together, whispering intimately in bed, was still too vivid. And if I said I felt nothing for him after coming back, that would be a lie. But this feeling wasn't enough to make me abandon my pride and desperately try to make the 18-year-old Daniel fall for me the same way the 28-year-old one had. When it came to me and Alicia had always been the exception. In my last life, it wasn't like I never voiced my frustration, but all he ever said was, "She's my childhood friend. I promised her parents I'd take care of her for life." That shut me down completely. Men can love you and still carry someone else in their heart. He ditched our wedding anniversary for Alicia, only to buy me a piece of couture jewelry as an apology. He left me alone at the hospital with a high fever just to rush to her side, only to return later and make me congee by hand. I knew clearly that he never cheated. He treated Alicia with gentlemanly restraint, he never crossed the line, and even kept her physical advances at bay. But still, she was the exception. I didn't complain in my past life because I had already gained so much from him. At the time, he was the best option I had. But in this life? Because I don't need you anymore. This time, I had the ability to achieve everything on my own. I won't pretend I'm pure, but neither is he. I nodded toward Alicia, who was running over in a panic behind him. Almost forgot. Congratulations on getting what you wanted. I wish you both eternal happiness. Daniel frowned, frustrated. He naturally assumed I was just being petty. Diana, don't say that. We're husband and wife. If you want my help, just say the word. Coup Group is always open to you. I watched as he turned to gently soothe Alicia and walk away. I couldn't help but scoff. If he really wanted to help, he could have stepped in directly. Was he just waiting for me to give in? And besides, did Daniel forget? He has a girlfriend now. Chapter 13. 2 days ago, the head of the Kim Corporation reached out to me, offering a hefty sum to purchase my proposal. Cameron Kim, 25. The youngest heir among the city's elite families. A polished, calculating man, smiling on the outside, ruthless beneath. I'd heard no shortage of rumors about him in my last life. Knowing the Moo Group, there's no way they came up with that proposal on their own. He'd said, "So, Diana, are you sure you want to keep turning me down? Right now, I'm your only way out." 2 days later, I called him back. "Mr. Kim, would you be open to a partnership?" Selling the plan outright was never an option. It was the blood and sweat of everyone on my team. But if Kim Group was willing to collaborate, not only could they cover our startup's weak points, they could also elevate the proposal to a whole new level using their existing resources. I took a deep breath. We're prepared to offer everything we've got. Within 2 years, we'll raise the net profit of Kim Group's biotech division by 20%. Cameron curved his lips into a smile, something intrigued flickering in his eyes. "Diana, you're exactly what I expected, rare and extraordinary." Chapter 14. From that day on, I rotated between campus, my company, and Kim Group, 3 points on a straight line. Because my grades were outstanding, I was exempted from most general and non-essential courses. Well, I did invest a little too. I didn't know what kind of strings Cameron pulled. But now, on paper, the company bidding with Coup Group was listed under Kim Corporation's name, and I had become the lead planner behind the project. For a new startup, being too high profile isn't always a good thing. But because of that, I ended up basically being Cameron's personal slave, his exclusive business companion. He laughed heartily while I rolled my eyes. "Idiot, you think you scored a free laborer. But really, I'm just using you as my stepping stone into the business world." I had a new project for the second half of the year and was looking to bring in some investors. He raised an eyebrow and gave me a mock gentlemanly bow. Nothing would please me more. The business gala that evening was hosted by none other than the Coup family, the wealthiest in the city. As I entered the venue on Cameron's arm, the first thing I saw was Daniel's stunned expression. He grabbed my wrist and pulled me aside, clearly upset. "As the wife of the Coup family, you're showing up at a gala with another man? Don't forget you're a married woman." I yanked my arm back and let out a cold laugh. "Don't slander me. I'm single, untouched, and very much available. And aren't you with another woman yourself?" I nodded toward Alicia standing behind him. Daniel visibly relaxed. Diana, it's not what you think. You know how temperamental Alicia is. If I didn't bring her, she would have thrown a fit. I'll make it up to you after the event. I sighed, completely out of patience. Daniel, cut the act. Chapter 15. He froze in place, staring at me in disbelief. What do you mean? I scoffed. You want to have your cake and eat it too? You've got some nerve. Have you even tried breaking up with Alicia during this time? As his face turned pale, I spoke calmly. People are often haunted for life by the things they couldn't have when they were young. You wrote that line yourself on our wedding day. Of course. I'm not blaming you. I wasn't exactly pure of motive when I married you either. Since we've both been given a second chance, why not live a different kind of life? Isn't that what you wanted? Suddenly, an arm draped over my shoulder. Cameron leaned in, speaking playfully into my ear. Really now? Ditching me in front of a crowd just to catch up with your ex? That's not very polite, is it? I kicked him in the shin. Buzz off. I smoothed my wrinkled collar. You've got it wrong. This guy's just our current business sponsor. Apart from being schoolmates, there's nothing between us. Daniel's face darkened completely. He couldn't even keep up his usual gentlemanly mask. What's your relationship with him? Kim Group was Koo Group's greatest future rival. Without me in his last life, Daniel, who had only just taken over the company, would have had no way to handle someone like Cameron, who became the head of Kim Group at 22. Cameron blinked innocently. My relationship? Obviously. I'm Diana's suitor. He poked my shoulder. So, Diana, when can I go from candidate to official? I gave him a disgusted look. You're too old. Give it 5 more years and your muscles will start sagging. Older men aren't worth anything anymore. I've got money and ability if I'm gonna date. I'll go for a young heartthrob. Cameron's grin froze. Then, slightly flustered, he muttered angrily, Diana, are you looking down on me? You haven't even tried me, and you're already dismissing me? As Cameron and I bickered and left, Daniel's face turned utterly black. Chapter 16. As I stepped out of the restroom, I ran into Alicia. She had clearly been crying, her eyes were bloodshot. Diana, let me tell you a secret. Your rebirth was a deal I made with the system. I gave up 10 years of my life in exchange for it. I just wanted you to see, with your own eyes, how I would take back everything that once belonged to me. One step at a time. I froze for a moment. That I didn't know. Her gaze shifted from hatred to something much sadder. I wanted you to watch yourself fall from heaven to hell, to taste the pain I went through in my last life. But why? Why are you still living better than me this time? Why does Danny still notice you? Why are you the heroine, and I'm always the side character? I grew up with everything, loved and spoiled by my parents. Lucas was the first guy who kept me on a string. I thought it was true love. So I pushed Danny away with my own hands, only to realize Lucas just wanted the Moo family's money. Do you know how hopeless I felt? Lying in bed after a miscarriage, hearing the news that you and Danny got married, the long-absent comment stream suddenly burst back into view. Holy plot twist? Diana is also reborn, and Alicia gave it to her? What the hell? This is literally hurting herself just to hurt others. I'm speechless. I've been rooting for Alicia all this time, only to realize she's just been wallowing in bitterness and doing nothing. I thought this was a side character fights backstory. But no matter how many lives, the heroine is still the heroine. Maybe Diana deserves it. She's always known exactly what she wanted. Romance wasn't even on her radar. I admit it, I was wrong to hate her. I looked at Alicia and said sincerely, you still don't get it. She blinked. Get what? You don't know how to live in the present. You're always stuck in the past. You've forgotten, you're the heiress of the Moo Group, a guaranteed admit to Peking University. Daniel's childhood sweetheart. His feelings for you are irreplaceable. What you also don't understand is, being the female lead isn't something others hand to you, not the readers. Not anyone else. It's something you give yourself. With that mindset of yours, no matter how many lives you relive, you'll always be a supporting role in someone else's story. She stood frozen in place, stunned. For the first time, I genuinely felt grateful to her. Alicia, thank you. You gave me the chance to become who I am, and compared to the heroine everyone said I was in the last life, I prefer the one I became this time, on my own terms. Chapter 17. Half a year later. The company gradually hit its stride. The scale kept expanding. Daniel eventually broke up with Alicia. Now, every few days, he'd pop up in front of me trying to make himself relevant, clearly attempting to win me back. To be honest, I said, when I think about it now, at least half the reason I liked you back then was because you had a decent face, a better than average body for our age, and most importantly, the resources of the almighty Koo family. I pointed at Cameron standing nearby. Now I've realized, if he keeps working hard, he might actually replace Koo Group in the next 2 years. Sure, he's a bit older, but at least he knows how to treat me right. No childhood sweethearts hanging around. No faded first loves clinging like red moles or mosquito bites. I sighed and shook my head. All in all, you just don't measure up anymore. Daniel forced a smile. Diana, we've been married for 3 years. We were about to have a child. Are you really going to say things like this just to get back at me? Cameron couldn't take it anymore. He pulled out his phone and casually called security. This guy's insane. He's trying to steal my wife. Get him out of here. I raised a hand to stop him. No need. Politely declined. I'm 19, rich, brilliant, and absolutely stunning. No husband here. Thank you. Cameron's expression shifted instantly. He leaned in, looking all wounded and pitiful. Didn't you say you'd give me a chance? Big sis. Were you lying to me? I shoved him away with a deadpan face. Back off, and quit calling me old. I said I'd considered giving you a shot. I never said I'd take you. 19's the age for fun. You know? There are so many pretty boys nowadays, soft puppy types. Sly wolfish ones, I see one. I like one. Women, it's in our nature. Can't help it. Cameron clenched his jaw and called in his secretary with a dramatic sigh. Starting today, schedule weekly skincare appointments for me and extend my gym membership for another 50 years. I couldn't help but curl my lips into a smile. A suitor with a good face. A boss babe's pride. A fat wallet full of resources delivered to my doorstep. And a bonus second shot at youth. Now this is what being the heroine feels like. Story 2. On my wedding day, a girl rear-ended my wedding car. She looked visibly nervous. My husband joked familiarly. What? Trying to crash the wedding? He let her go, saying they could settle the payment for the damages later. A few days later, I walked into my own marital home and found the two of them together. The girl was holding onto his arm, with a nonchalant attitude, saying, I'll repay the money you lent me for the house, and you can give me back my husband. Chapter 1. On my wedding day, the car I had as part of my dowry was rear-ended by a girl. She got out of her car, nervously walking over to apologize. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. She looked down. Her crescent-shaped eyebrows, almond eyes, and slight dimples made her look sweet, even without smiling. She seemed to be in her early 20s, wearing a light pink lace dress, with a shy, student-like appearance. My husband, Alex, immediately got out of the car and joked with her from across the vehicle. What's this? Are you trying to crash the wedding? The girl looked guilty, biting her lip and staying silent. Seeing my puzzled expression, Alex casually introduced her. This is my ex-girlfriend. She lives nearby. Realizing she should apologize to me, the girl quickly bowed her head and said, full of remorse, I'm so sorry, big sister, for ruining your special day. What should I do? The normal response would be to call the insurance company. But this girl had the look of someone who had no idea what to do, like she was expecting someone to teach her. Alex chuckled helplessly. Didn't I teach you how to handle this? How come you still don't know anything? I forgot. Alex turned to me and said, wait for me. I'll deal with the accident and be right back. He had never mentioned his ex to me before. Alex and I are the same age, 27, both with master's degrees. But this girl looked younger. I didn't know when they had been together or when they broke up, because she knocked off the bumper. The car was unusable. Switching cars took a long time, causing us to miss the auspicious time for the wedding. Even some of our neighbors came out to watch the scene. One aunt called out from her window, Selena, what's the deal with that girl? Is she really here to steal your groom? A grandpa nearby, sitting on a small stool, said, "Your husband and that girl's dog are close, hugging and all. It's inappropriate." At that moment, I wanted to call off the wedding, but with all the guests already there, I couldn't just leave everyone hungry. So I talked to the MC and decided to cancel the ceremony. We didn't do anything, just let the guests eat. My parents called and asked, "Honey, what's going on?" I said, "The wedding is off for now." Alex's family panicked and kept calling me, but I put my phone on silent and didn't pick up. Instead, I went straight back to our marital home. That night, when Alex came home, he didn't mention what had happened during the day. He went straight to asking me, "Why did you call off the wedding?" He even had the nerve to turn it on me. "Shouldn't you be explaining things to me?" Alex paused as he was about to put down his keys and casually said, "She's just an ex-girlfriend. I didn't expect her to rear-end the wedding car. It's just a coincidence. Don't overthink it." Alex and I met through a matchmaker, and we've always spoken directly. "Since she's your ex, I don't think it's necessary for you to handle her insurance claim." Alex took off his suit jacket, sat down across from me, and calmly said, "Lisa's car. I helped her buy it. I also arranged her insurance. She doesn't understand how to handle it herself, and it could delay your compensation. Your parents gave you a 300,000 yuan car as part of the dowry. We can't just leave it unrepaired." "Can we?" Alex's logic was odd. He was so concerned about getting the compensation that he took it upon himself to help the person who caused the accident with the insurance. With that kind of enthusiasm, he might as well work at an insurance company. "When did you break up with Lisa?" 6 months ago. Amicably, Alex said without any hesitation. "We broke up because of personality differences." He wiped his face. "Babe, we've both had a long day. Let's not let this affect our lives." He grabbed a towel and said, "You go to bed first. I've got some things to take care of." Then he went to the bathroom to shower. His vague, non-committal attitude made me so angry I couldn't help but laugh. Alex and I had planned the wedding first and hadn't yet gotten the marriage certificate. Now, with an ex suddenly showing up, I didn't see the point of going ahead with the registration. However, our marital home had been paid for equally by both of our families, and both our names were on the property deed. Dividing assets and discussing things with our parents would take time. The car repair would cost thousands, and according to Alex, Lisa couldn't afford to pay that much. I told Alex that this was my dowry car, and no matter what, compensation had to be made. All I needed to do now was get him off the property deed and get my compensation, and then we could split up. Chapter 2. Over the next few days, Alex became very busy. He openly said things like, "I'm going to the insurance company with Lisa. Lisa's got a problem. I'm going to check on her." When our parents asked about the marriage certificate, I kept delaying and quietly consulted a lawyer about the division of property. But then something ridiculous happened. One day, I left some documents at home, so I took advantage of my lunch break at work to go back. As soon as I entered, I heard voices coming from the bedroom. I thought maybe my parents had come by. But when I opened the door, there was Lisa, dressed in something skimpy, lying on top of Alex. Her face flushed. "You said you didn't miss me." "Huh?" Alex's eyes were hazy. "I still don't." But his actions betrayed what he really wanted. They had wrinkled my wedding bed, the bed I had personally chosen. Lisa's hair was all over the sheets, and the cheap scent of her perfume lingered in the air. A wave of nausea hit me instantly. What were they playing at? Some kind of rekindling the old flame drama? Bang! The door hit the wall and bounced back. The loud noise made Lisa flinch. She looked over at me, her face flushed, her eyes moist. Alex's gaze slowly cleared. He helped Lisa sit up, wrapping the blanket around her. "You should go. I'll handle this." Lisa, bundled in the blanket, gathered herself quietly. Then, with me watching, she firmly hugged Alex's arm and, with all sincerity, said, "I'm sorry. I just can't let him go." "How much did you spend on this wedding home?" "I'll pay you for it, and you can give me back my husband. I really like the decor here. Why don't you just move out?" I stood there, holding my documents, and quietly asked, "Why should I move out of my marital home? This apartment was something my parents helped me secure, and it's bound to appreciate in value. It's conveniently located for work, and if it weren't for marriage, I could have bought it on my own with a loan. Why should I move out? Lisa looked up at Alex, unsure, hoping he would say something. Alex thought for a moment and said, I don't think there's any need for us to get married now. I've realized that I still want to be with her. I don't care if you want to be with a pig, but this house is mine. Lisa was displeased. He paid for part of it too. Why should it be yours? Because without me, he wouldn't have been able to buy a house in this neighborhood at all. I raised my phone and snapped a picture of the two of them. I was ready to post it in Alex's family group chat. Alex jumped up, dragged me out of the room, and lowered his voice. Don't make a scene. My mom doesn't approve of the two of us being together. What good does it do for you if this blows up? Oh, so there it was. It wasn't a personality clash. It was because his family didn't approve. But what did that have to do with me? I was getting this house, and they both had to leave. Chapter 3. That evening didn't go well. Alex and I were talking in the living room, while Lisa stayed in the bedroom. I refused to sit on the bed they had messed up. Alex tried his best to persuade me. It's not like I'm short on money. I'll give you more, okay? Your parents already bought you a house. So what's the big deal with this one? Was money really what I lacked? The purchase of the house, the renovation, everything had been carefully managed by me. Even the curtains were something I selected after visiting at least 10 different stores. Why should I give up my home to some shameless ex? For what reason? To put it bluntly, the house is my asset. Why should I hand it over to him? Charity? I like this house. Seeing that I wasn't giving in, Alex got frustrated. Is it fun to drag this out? I don't like you. Do you get that? I was stunned. He's talking like I'm the one who's so into him. Does he really think I'm holding on to this just because I want to get him back? Anyway, Alex and I haven't registered our marriage, and we've never had any deep connection. Now, with him in a hurry to marry Lisa, I've become the one with all the time in the world. I smiled and said, the property deed has both our names on it. You either take my money and get your name removed, or we can just keep dragging it out. At that moment, the bedroom door burst open. Lisa walked out nonchalantly. She grabbed Alex's hand, shook it gently, and said calmly, don't bother with her. I have a place. Come home with me. Oh, Lisa's so-called place was a rental. Girls her age probably think they can triumph over anything just because a man favors them. True love is priceless? What she doesn't realize is that favoritism means nothing in the face of reality. Alex stormed out with Lisa, slamming the door behind them. Later that night, I got a call from Alex's mother. Selena, are you and Alex having problems? Yes. Auntie, I plan to break up with him. I'll return the money you helped with for the house, and Alex can just handle the property transfer with me. You owe me at least an explanation. Auntie, you should ask him. Alex's mother hurriedly hung up, while I continued discussing with my parents about refunding the wedding gifts. Chapter 4. Alex sure has principles. He actually moved in with Lisa, though they didn't move far, just within the same neighborhood. Every time I went to work or came home, I'd run into them walking their dog. That dog was vicious and always barked at me. Lisa, with a mocking smile, would say, look at this little guy. He can tell who's good and who's bad. The next day, I filed a complaint with the property management. The management spoke to Lisa. Please make sure to control your dog next time. If it scares other residents, we can't be held responsible. Lisa wasn't happy and publicly tagged me in the neighborhood group chat, saying, if you're so timid, maybe you shouldn't go outside. You can't expect every dog in the world to avoid you, right? Basically, she was calling me overly sensitive. She was clearly trying to rally the dog lovers to attack me. Sure enough, some people chimed in. Yeah, girl, if you're scared of dogs, just stay away. Mutual respect, right? Exactly. We've got them on a leash. What's your problem? Suddenly, my neighbor from across the hall chimed in to defend me. But she doesn't leash her dog. My kid got scared last time too. Really classy behavior. The group chat went silent for a moment. Then the same people who had criticized me earlier turned on Lisa, tagging her. You walk your dog without a leash? You're giving dog owners a bad name. Alex spoke up. Sorry. We'll be more careful next time. But he forgot to change his nickname. So both he and I were still speaking with room number 102. The group admin was confused. Mr. Alex, which apartment do you live in? Isn't it 102? My message was delayed, and the photo I had of Lisa walking her dog without a leash was sent out a minute later. So the video appeared right below the group admin's question. In the video, Lisa's dog was barking wildly while Lisa, trying to provoke me, pulled Alex's tie and kissed him shamelessly. The chat went completely silent. Then someone asked, I thought 102 was a couple. Didn't they just get married a few days ago? What's going on? Alex suddenly sent me a private message. Can you take it down? I ignored him. When I switched back to the group chat, the group had exploded. No way. The husband is with another woman? And this blatantly? Provoking his wife? How shameless do you have to be to destroy someone's marriage? Even the dog is picking on people? Disgusting. The neighbor who had witnessed everything that day was getting into it now. They sent a voice message. Oh, I saw it all. That shameless little girl crashed the wedding car that day. Right after the crash, the groom came out. She really was trying to crash the wedding. Anyone with a dog knows that if the dog is that friendly with someone, they must be a familiar face. Who knows how long this has been going on? 102's owner. You should look into it. Lisa, who had been staying silent until now, couldn't hold back any longer. She tried to defend herself. We were together before he met the bride. A neighbor asked, so you two were tricking her into a marriage? Someone posted a video of the car crash from the wedding day. When both videos were compared, Lisa was completely exposed. The group chat was filled with angry comments, messages flooding in. Lisa's landlord finally spoke up. Knowing each other before doesn't give you the right to ruin someone's marriage. Lisa, please move out by next month. Exactly. Do people really have no morals these days? Shameless. A flood of agreement followed in the chat. This neighborhood has prime real estate. There's never a shortage of renters. I know Lisa's landlord. We've had dinner together before. She messaged me privately. Back then, I thought she was just a soft, delicate young girl. So I didn't charge her much rent. I never expected her to be a shameless homewrecker. When I went back to the group chat, I saw that Lisa had been kicked out. After a while, Alex also left the group voluntarily. Chapter 5. As for the property transfer, Alex hadn't made any move. He clearly wanted to drag this out with me. But when you lose something, you also gain something. After things fell apart with Alex, my wedding leave was cancelled. This month, the company held a competition for a promotion, and I buried myself in work. To my surprise, I ended up with the highest performance. I even got a promotion and a raise. My colleagues joked that I had lost in love but won in my career. That night, they insisted I treat them to dinner. By 9:30 p.m., we finished up, and as I was leaving the KTV, I ran into Lisa. She was wearing a little black dress with spaghetti straps. Her makeup perfectly done. After saying goodbye to her friends, she came over and blocked my way. Sis, let's talk. I don't have anything to talk about with you. Lisa ignored me and took out her phone to call Alex. Honey, you don't need to pick me up. I'll go home on my own. After she hung up, she had this ridiculous look on her face, like she was so proud of how much Alex adored her. Since we were heading in the same direction, I grabbed my bag and walked ahead while she trailed behind. Still talking. Alex and I were together before. Actually, you're the real third party here. I suddenly stopped, turned around, and stared at her directly. I had no idea how much nonsense was going on in her head. Seeing my reaction, Lisa only got bolder. Yeah, maybe crashing the wedding wasn't the most honorable thing to do. But what can I say? I'm shameless. I love Alex. And I won't give him up. If you were me, would you give him up? Why should I waste my time trying to understand the mindset of a piece of trash? If you two were so great together, why did you break up? My mom didn't allow it. I had just gotten into grad school, and I needed to focus on my studies. Alex's family is well educated. If I had wanted to marry him, you wouldn't have had a chance. His parents would definitely prefer me over you. I kept staring at her without saying anything. So now that you're together, why hasn't he married you yet? Lisa paused. as if I had hit a sore spot. She then stretched out her ring finger, expressionless. He already proposed to me the same night. Actually, he even promised to break off the wedding with you. I nearly burst out laughing when I saw her ring, so tiny you'd need a magnifying glass to see the diamond. Alex is just an ordinary worker, making barely over 10,000 yuan a month after expenses. He's not well off, unlike when we were getting married, where Alex's family paid for everything, the 5 gold items, the diamond ring, all of it, though I've returned it all now. Back then, the diamond ring was practically blinding. I chuckled. Sister, the fact is, Alex and I are still both on the property deed. As long as he doesn't marry you, you don't have a secure home. I should thank your husband for using his money to buy me a house. Otherwise, I'd be stuck paying a mortgage. The longer he delays, the more interest I save. Oh, and you're proud of that? Beggar. Lisa put on a nonchalant expression, as if I were the one being overly sentimental, but from her expression, I could tell she was furious inside. That meant I had achieved my goal. If Alex is going to cling to the house, let Lisa go and cause trouble for him. The more she fights with him, the sooner Alex won't be able to take it and will come to settle things with me. Chapter 6. Sure enough, a week later, I received a call from Alex. What did you say to Lisa? What do you think I said? Alex's tone was sharp. You didn't need to provoke her, did you? She's been crying every day, and her health isn't great to begin with. I interrupted him impatiently. Her crying every day is my problem? Shouldn't that be your problem? If you hadn't provoked my wife, she wouldn't be nagging me about meeting my parents every day. Alex's tone wasn't any better, but I caught the key information in his words. She's pushing to meet the parents, so why hasn't she? It's because Alex's family doesn't accept Lisa. He's been hiding it all along, too scared to let Lisa find out. At that moment, I couldn't decide if Lisa was more laughable or pitiful. Alex hadn't managed to convince his parents, so he couldn't marry Lisa anytime soon. My plan to rely on Lisa to get the house back wasn't going to work after all. Left with no other choice, I had to talk to Alex's mother. Over the next 2 weeks, I borrowed some money from friends and relatives and reached out to Alex's mom. Auntie, last time I didn't bring this up because I was concerned about your health. Alex has gotten back together with his ex, and the house was something my parents pulled strings to secure, so I can't just leave it to him. Could you please talk to Alex and ask him to handle the transfer with me? Alex's mother hesitated for a moment before sighing. We liked you. As for any other daughter-in-law, we don't accept them. Honestly, that was just talk. No parent ever sides against their own child. Everyone knows the house is a good asset, and they all want it. She apologized repeatedly over the phone. How about this? I'll come with you to see Alex. We'll all sit down together, including that girl, and have an open and honest conversation. Before heading out, I gathered all the necessary documents. If the conversation went well, I hope we could finalize everything within the day and cut ties with Alex completely. Alex's mom had a key to Alex and Lisa's place. It must have been given to her by Alex. This, in its own way, was a form of favoritism. No matter how much she might dislike Lisa, if her son chose her, she'd have to help. She led me inside and sat down on the sofa, preparing to call Alex. Suddenly, the door opened from the outside. Laughter filled the room first. I think it's going to be a boy, just like you. Then Lisa walked in, holding an ultrasound printout in her hand. She was on the phone with Alex, her smile still on her face, until she saw the two of us sitting on the sofa, waiting for her. For a moment, you could hear a pin drop. She slowly set her things down, paused for a few seconds, then very calmly said, "Honey, your mom and your ex-wife are here." Yes. She called me the ex-wife. She even smirked, throwing me a look of disdain when she thought I wasn't paying attention. I remained seated, unmoving, and said nothing. Previously, Alex's mom hadn't liked Lisa, but now that she was pregnant, the situation had changed. This moment was definitely one to reflect on. I knew Alex's mom loved children. She had already hinted to me several times before, saying she wanted to be a grandmother. Well, now someone was giving her what she wanted. Sure enough, Alex's mom's expression had already changed. Her previously furrowed brows were now slowly relaxing. Once Lisa hung up the phone, Alex's mom asked, "You're pregnant?" Lisa nodded and handed over the ultrasound. "Yes, it's Alex's." She glanced at me calmly, with a look of triumph. Lisa may not be very smart, but she's got one thing down: she never takes the lead herself. She always lets Alex handle the negotiations. Chapter 7. When Alex came home, he was out of breath and sweating. "Mom, Lisa and I are going to register our marriage. We're not having a wedding." Alex's mom snapped. "What? How many weddings do you plan on having? Do you want to embarrass us even more?" Alex shot me a quick glance and said, "Lisa and I don't have a place to live yet." The implication was clear: he wanted to guilt-trip me into giving up the marital home. Alex's mom looked a bit troubled. She started to speak, but I interrupted her before she could finish her first word. "No problem. Since she's pregnant, they can live there." All three of them were stunned. They didn't expect me to agree so easily. Lisa, snuggled up against Alex, looked smug. "Exactly. The marital home should go to people who are actually getting married. Why should you keep living there if you're not getting married? You should just take the money and leave." Alex was getting a prime location house for free, and even though Alex's mom apologized, the smile on her face was impossible to hide. I said, "You can have the house, but I'm going on a business trip in a few days. We'll handle the property transfer later." Alex's expression soured, but since he had been dragging things out before, he couldn't really criticize me for it. "When will you be back?" I smiled. "Depends." With that, I walked out without looking back. Because I had seen things clearly now, it would be impossible to get Alex off the deed on my own terms. He had no sense of decency left. And when morality can't be relied on, you turn to the law. Chapter 8. I bought a few mini cameras online and hired someone to install them in various parts of the house. I also set up a separate internet connection just for the cameras, so I could monitor the house from my phone at any time. I avoided placing them in private areas like the bedroom and bathroom, since I wasn't relying on this. After packing up my personal belongings, I moved out of the marital home. The next day, Lisa wasted no time moving in. From time to time, I logged into the cameras and saw the two of them being all lovey-dovey around the house. On several occasions, Lisa would ask, "Who's prettier, me or your ex-wife?" "Of course, you're prettier. That wicked woman used to bully me all the time. She's finally gone for good. Be careful when you go out. What if she tries to get back at you?" It's a wonder I haven't taken revenge on her yet. My friends and neighbors all felt indignant on my behalf. "Why aren't you standing up for yourself? Why give the house to those scumbags?" If it were me, I'd dump garbage right at their doorstep. I'd hire someone to harass them until even their parents wouldn't recognize them. But all of that? Small stuff. Petty tricks. If you're going to do it big. I knew Lisa was stalking my social media and watching my posts. So, from that day on, I posted a daily update. The first day, I posted a picture of the coffee table. I told him I liked the Nordic style, so he scoured the entire city to find this for me. The second day, I posted the curtains. He wanted black, but I preferred something sheer. In the end, he listened to me. The third day, I have the designs for my house here. If anyone wants to copy, send me a message, and I can help you recreate it perfectly. The fourth day, I still love you. By the 10th day, late at night, Lisa accidentally liked one of my posts, then quickly disliked it. One weekend morning, I got a text from a neighbor. "What's going on at your place? All that banging and clattering?" I logged into the cameras, and sure enough, Lisa had snapped. The coffee table, dining table, curtains, and sofa, all smashed to pieces by the workers she hired and then hauled away. In less than a day, the house was left completely empty. Lisa, in high spirits, sat among the ruins and called Alex. "Honey, I threw out all that woman's stuff. Come home early today, and let's pick out some new furniture." At the same time, Lisa updated her social media with a picture of the wrecked living room. The caption read, "Out with the old, in with the new." I smiled. 2 minutes later, I called the police. "Hello, officer. I'd like to report a crime." "What for?" Willful destruction of property. Chapter 9. When Lisa was taken to the police station, she was still in shock. She was wearing the same outfit she had posted in her social media update that morning. Her makeup was done, ready for Alex to come home so they could go to the furniture store together. Willful destruction of property? She asked, clutching her purse with an innocent look. I don't understand. I didn't. I just redecorated my own furniture. When Alex told me he was out of money, I had contributed an additional 200,000 yuan to renovate the house. And now, it was all coming in handy, right there in front of the officer. I laid out every piece of evidence on the table. The original purchase list, the itemized cost breakdown, payment receipts, and account details for all the furniture. The video footage of Lisa and the mover smashing and hauling away the furniture. And finally, the property deed. Owners, me and Alex. Ownership status, jointly owned. The evidence was undeniable. That red property deed was now silently mocking Lisa's ignorance. The officer frowned and asked Lisa, "Why did you destroy someone else's furniture?" Lisa tried to argue. She said the house was mine. I moved in, so I'm the owner of the house. And I didn't like the decor. Can't I change it? I remained expressionless. Do you have any proof? Did I sign a gift agreement or transfer the property to you? The officer looked at Lisa again. Yeah. Do you have any evidence? Don't cry. You need to provide evidence. Lisa couldn't say anything. She just kept repeating that the house was hers. The officer had had enough. If you can't explain yourself, call your family. This isn't the place for you to cry. Lisa called Alex. Half an hour later, Alex arrived, looking furious. The moment he walked in, he started yelling at me. Are you crazy, Selena? We had an agreement. Why are you making trouble now? The officer shouted. Watch your mouth. I blinked, feeling the weight of all my pent-up frustration finally lift as I got my long-awaited release. Officer, this is my marital home. On the day of our wedding, he got together with her and even kicked me out of the house so they could live in it. Now they've damaged the furniture I paid to renovate. What should be done about it? The officer glanced at the list and said, anyone guilty of willful destruction of property can be sentenced to up to 3 years in prison, detention, or a fine. If the value is significant or if there are other serious circumstances, the sentence can be 3 to 7 years. If the damage is under 3,000 yuan, the case can be settled with compensation through mediation. However, for damage that leads to a loss of over 100,000 yuan, the punishment could include not only compensation and settlements but also a sentence ranging from 3 to 7 years or even longer. This looks like a lot of money. I had only listed a few big-ticket items and hadn't tallied everything yet. If I included the full cost of the renovation and some of the art pieces, it could easily amount to over 100,000 yuan, which meant I could actually get Lisa sent to prison. Chapter 10. Lisa's face turned pale. Her whole body started shaking. Suddenly, Alex pointed at me. Can secret recordings even count as evidence? What about her invasion of privacy? I pulled up our chat logs from when Alex and I were renovating the marital home. One of the messages read, "Honey, the furniture in the house is really valuable. I want to install security cameras." Alex replied, "Okay." He had been so disinterested in the renovation that he probably didn't even remember this. Feigning regret, I looked at Alex with a mocking glint in my eye. "Honey, we installed the cameras in our house a long time ago, and you knew about it." Suddenly, I remembered a video I had saved casually, one I had filed away because the latter half was too cringeworthy to watch. I pulled it up now. It showed the living room. The content wasn't suitable for viewing, but the audio played clearly through the phone. "Baby, let's move to another room. What if there's a camera?" "Don't worry," Lisa said with a laugh, even raising her voice. "I want her to see what we're doing in her house. Have you seen how she's about to lose it from her social media posts? I'm so bad." Huh? Not cute at all. Everyone in the room, except for the couple involved, was utterly disgusted. The officer put down the phone, his expression serious. There's nothing wrong with someone installing cameras in their own home. I can't regulate moral behavior, but I can address the destruction of property. This kind of bullying is unacceptable. Alex panicked and softened his tone. "Officer, she's pregnant. Could you give her a break?" I laughed. "Funny. She didn't seem to have any issues with her health when she was smashing up the furniture. The officer stood up. Once the case is filed, it won't be withdrawn. If you all come to an agreement, you can go to the mediation room. Lisa finally seemed to realize the gravity of the situation. Her face turned pale as she coldly glared at me. I'll pay for the damages. The officer gave a cold laugh. It's not just about compensation. If the amount is large enough, you'll still face jail time. You're young. Where did you get such a bad temper? Going toe-to-toe with someone's wife? Lisa stopped speaking and clung to Alex's sleeve, shrinking behind him. I opted for mediation instead of sending Lisa straight to jail because putting her behind bars wasn't my goal. I wouldn't gain anything from it. What I cared about was something tangible, something I could hold on to, the property deed and my reputation. Chapter 11. As soon as we stepped out of the police station, Lisa rushed at me, grabbing my hair. Do you want to die? I quickly reacted and slapped her hard across the face, leaving her cheek red. If you don't want to go to jail, keep your filthy mouth shut. From today, you're out of my house. If I find out you come back, I'll call the police and have you arrested. Lisa clung to Alex, crying. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. Alex tried to soothe her while taking a deep breath. Okay, how about this? We'll compensate for the damaged furniture, and I'll give you the house. We'll do the transfer tomorrow. That was the previous deal. Things are different now. I enjoyed watching the two of them squirm and, with a slow smile, said, give me the house. And you both also have to apologize to me publicly. I think the apology letter should be posted on the community bulletin board for everyone to see. Don't push it. Alex snapped. I turned and started walking back toward the police station. Alex quickly called after me. Okay, fine. We'll do it your way. Lisa screeched like a madwoman. No way. I will never apologize. Alex softly coaxed her. You're pregnant. Don't stoop to her level. I'll write the apology letter for you. She needs to write it herself. I'll be taking it for handwriting analysis. I reminded him calmly. Over my dead body. I'll never apologize. Lisa shrieked. Fine. Then off to jail you go. I used to beg them. Now, it was their turn to beg me. Alex managed to talk me out of going back to the police station. Because of this, Alex was forced to agree to meet me first thing the next morning to transfer the house. Every second I waited was an act of mercy toward him and Lisa. I had the money ready, and with Alex's consent, the transfer process went by quickly. I removed Alex's name from the property deed, although I now had a mortgage. With my current income, I could pay it off within 5 years. The pressure wasn't particularly high. That day, as I left the government office, Alex stopped me. Drop the charges. Ignoring his commanding tone, I replied, as long as you both apologize publicly, everything will be fine. After all, my goal was to get the house. What happened to them was none of my concern. Now, half of my goal has already been achieved. Alex agreed to write the apology letter once he got home. That same day, I contacted the renovation company again. Last time, I had to take Alex's preferences into account. For example, he liked minimalist styles, so I gave up the cotton and fresh elements that I had always loved. This time, I explained my preferences to the designer. I decided to go with French light luxury. The designer was enthusiastic. I need to see the layout of your home. I happen to have time now. Let's go check it out together. I was in a great mood after getting the property deed, but that good mood vanished when I arrived at the front door. Chapter 12. My keyhole had been filled with cement, and on the door, someone had painted 4 large red characters, "Bitch, go die." The designer was horrified. Miss, did you offend someone? No need to guess, I knew exactly who it was. I just didn't expect that she still hadn't learned her lesson. Looks like I'll need to install a camera in the hallway next time. At that moment, my neighbor across the hall opened her door slightly, her expression secretive. Selena, you're here. I know who did it. She invited me and the designer inside and began complaining. Recently, people have been shoving flyers into our doors. No matter how much I tell them to stop, they keep doing it. Not just slipping them in, they stick them on the door. It's like a disease. I got so fed up. I installed a camera. She opened her laptop and pulled up the footage from that day. Guess what? It caught her in the act. You can see her from the back here, and you'll see her face when she leaves. On the screen, there was Lisa, standing with her back to the camera, holding a can of red paint and shamelessly spraying words on my door. After finishing, she pulled out some cement and filled the keyhole. Then, she wiped the door handle with a wet wipe. The neighbor couldn't hold back her disgust. What is she doing? Wiping off fingerprints? She's both wicked and stupid, the designer added. Filling a lock with cement ruins it. You'll have to replace it. And that won't be cheap. It wouldn't be. I've seen ignorant people in my life, but never someone this foolish. She probably didn't expect her crime to be caught on camera. This time, I didn't hold back. Yes, I called the police again. Forget the apology letter. I went straight to the neighborhood group chat and publicly exposed Lisa's actions. Chapter 13. That same night, she was taken away. And so, our neighborhood residents had another chance to gather and enjoy the spectacle. Lisa caused a scene downstairs, insisting she hadn't done anything and even hitting a police officer. The older folks watching from below pointed and gossiped. That's her? So young, yet with such a wicked heart. The guy's no good either. A pair of despicable people. The officer handling the case was the same one as last time. When he saw me, he smiled. You sure have some kind of luck. I could only shrug and glance at the bite marks on his wrist. Sorry for causing you trouble. At the police station, Lisa was shaking with anger. Selena, just you wait. Because of the significant amount of damage Lisa caused, and the fact that she assaulted an officer, she had to face criminal charges. She had arrived with a lot of bravado, but when it came time to beg for mercy, she was utterly pitiful. I know I was wrong. Please, sister, forgive me, okay? I just got into grad school. I still have my studies. Why are you ruining my future? I hadn't heard a joke this good in years. Weren't you the one who ruined your own future? Even the police officer said. It's not up to her to forgive you now. What you did was too serious. It's out of her hands. In the end, I didn't wait for Alex to show up. After giving my statement, I went home. Chapter 14. I heard that Lisa was eventually sentenced. However, because she paid me compensation, her sentence was reduced, and she got out on probation. This whole situation became quite the local scandal. There are plenty of shameless people in the world, but few reach the level of these two. From the car crash, to stealing someone's husband, to the final outburst. It was all pieced together by onlookers. The videos were compiled, along with a long expose, and it went viral locally. Some video bloggers even shared it. It quickly gained traction online. The comments were full of people saying, "Can someone say where this happened? Let's make sure their workplaces and schools see this. People like this shouldn't live in society. They're asking to be punched. Wow, isn't this my coworker/classmate?" Even though the videos had been blurred, people still recognized them. Since I no longer had any connection to them, all the follow-up details I learned came from netizens. Because Lisa now had a criminal record, she was expelled from the graduate program she had just been accepted into. Alex's situation became known at his job, and he was fired. The biggest shock was that Alex and Lisa had secretly gotten married. They had done so shortly after Lisa bragged to me about Alex's proposal. One's in jail, the other's unemployed. A perfect match. However, after Alex's mother found out that Lisa had a criminal record, she absolutely refused to let her keep the baby. After all, this situation would affect the child's future and was a disgrace to their family. She raised a fuss every day, even rallying a large group of relatives and friends to cause trouble at Lisa's parents' house. In the end, Alex couldn't take it anymore and divorced Lisa. The baby was also aborted. My parents sighed. Good thing you acted decisively. If you had gone ahead with the marriage, who knows how much more trouble there would have been. Now, everyone in the neighborhood knows who they are. One day, the elderly gatekeeper saw me and, with a kind smile, patted his chest and assured me, "Don't worry, young lady, my eyes are sharp. You can live here in peace. I'll make sure no one sneaks in under my watch." After months of chaos, I focused all my energy on work, with no plans to marry in the short term. Even my parents realized that blindly pushing for marriage could lead to endless problems. True character is revealed over time, and it's best to take things slowly. Patience brings good fortune.